So hopefully I can get it pointed in that direction and they can see something. But other than that, I don't know. What do you see? You see that out there?
Yeah, I can see that, but maybe we could turn around just and point out, like, to the end of there.
Point out where? This way? Like this?
To the end of that road. I don't know if we'll be able to see that. And then point to the left.
Okay. Let me see if I can perch up over.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, that is good. All right, good morning, guys. Thanks for bearing with us there. We're just trying to get around here. So we are in Frederick County right now. What you're looking at, I just want to make sure I'm getting this correctly. So we are right across from the Woodsboro Regional Park, and this is Woodsboro Road. We were trying to make our way to Liberty Town, where we heard of some pretty significant flooding, high water out there, but we couldn't even make it there. So this is what we're looking at right here. Obviously, it looks like there's a body of water on either side, and you can see from that shot here over that bridge, there's even a sign that says flood area. So this is obviously nothing new, that when you see a significant amount of water like this, that this is probably an area that is flood prone, and so this is really one of the reasons why Frederick County decided to cancel schools today, because obviously the buses wouldn't be able to make it through some of these dangerous roads, and this is a dangerous situation. We just left Walkersville, where there was a swiftwater rescue. There was a car stuck in water over there, and we talked to the sheriff's deputy. He told us basically what the situation was is that there was a car that tried to drive down the hill. At that point, it was still pretty dark. The truck wasn't able to see the flooded road, the standing water, drove into it, and then was, obviously caught himself in a pretty dangerous situation. So that's what Swiftwater Rescue looked like. The boat had been pulled out. All of the rescue crews were headed back out. So it looks like that is wrapped up. Again, we were trying to make our way to Liberty Town, and this is the situation that we just drove up on. So certainly a dangerous situation, and not something that you want to find yourself stuck in the middle of. We've been driving around all morning, I would say since about 4 o'clock this morning, out in the Weather Explorer, and we have seen, just the downpours that you find yourself stuck in sometimes, downpours of rain, and we've all been there, where it's raining so hard that you can't even see and kind of differentiate where your lane starts, where it ends. And so we saw drivers doing, several things, from whether they pulled over completely because they just couldn't see. Others were, had their flashers on. They were in the, in the slow lane, and everybody was just taking it really slowly, which is good, and certainly something that you want to do when you come across a situation like this. So again, if you're just joining us, good morning to you. We are tracking some flooding out in Frederick County from the Weather Explorer. We were trying to make our way to Liberty Town, and this is what we just drove up on. So this again is Woodsboro Road, Woodsboro Regional Park, and the body of water is Israel Creek, is what one of our colleagues just mentioned. So again, Woodsboro Regional Park, the body of water that kind of surrounds this is Israel Creek. And you can see that creek, because of the significant amount of rain that we have gotten, has now come out of its banks, and this is the situation that we are dealing with. So we have seen and heard of several swiftwater rescues throughout the area, Montgomery County, Frederick County, out in Virginia as well. So that is certainly something that is worth mentioning again, that if you see a body of water that you don't know how high that water is, so it is dangerous, and just a few inches can sweep a person off their feet, and then can also sweep a car off of its could sweep a car away. So that's something that you want to look out for. And today's a good day to work from home if you can. And, if you can even delay your commute this morning until all of this has wrapped up and kind of moved out of the way, that is a good idea. So we're going to just leave this shot up for a few minutes, and I'll jump back in a few minutes. And again, if you're just joining us, what you're looking at right now, this is the flooding at Woodsboro Road, right across in the area, essentially from Woodsboro Regional Park. We know that this is Israel Creek that has come out of its banks and it has flooded this road here. There's a sign up there that says flood area. So again, this is probably nothing new for this area. We just saw, looks like a crew pull up here, and our photographer is speaking with them. So hopefully we'll get an update for you guys in just a moment. But what we were trying to do is we were trying to make our way to Liberty Town, where we heard of some other high standing water, some flooding over there as well, and then we turned onto Woodsboro Road, trying to make our way to there, and this is what we stumbled upon. So as you can see, significant amount of flooding. That entire creek that is normally looks like a parking lot, obviously a field, that is completely flooded at this point. So today is quite a mess on the roads. Early, even this morning, we saw several crashes. Even before 6 o'clock, there were several swiftwater rescues. We just left Walkersville, where there was a swiftwater rescue out there. The sheriff's deputy told us that it was so dark that a truck was just driving down the road, did not see the amount of water that was standing, drove through it, and then essentially got stuck. So we, saw the boats come out there for that rescue, fire department, fire and rescue. And as we were leaving, they were leaving as well. It looks like they were able to get that driver out. But this is a dangerous situation and not a situation that you want to find yourselves in this morning. So certainly if you can delay your commute, if you can work from home, today is certainly a good day to do so, because some of the roads out here are very dangerous. And again, we are here in Frederick County, Woodsboro Regional Park, where we're seeing this flooding. We saw it in other areas as well, and this is a good indication of why Frederick County schools decided not to delay schools, but to cancel them completely today, because this is not a situation that a bus or students, that you want to find those students in. So out of safety reasons, obviously the schools decided to cancel classes today because of the significant amount of flooding that we're seeing here. And it is worth mentioning again, of course, anytime you see even a little bit of water, you just cannot see the road, so you don't know how deep it is. So you don't want to try to walk through it. You don't want to drive through it, because a small amount of water can just, wash away your car. And that is certainly a dangerous situation. And if you're in the comments right now, just let me know what you're seeing in your area. If there is any, flooding in that area, kind of what you're seeing as far as rain is concerned, and let us know what you're seeing. Hey Robin, good morning. This is Marcella Robertson. Yes, this is Frederick County. So this is Woodsboro Regional Park. The flooding here is along Woodsboro Road, and you can see that bridge there is completely flooded. The body of water there came out of its banks and has now flooded the street. So we were trying to make our way to Liberty Town, and this is what we came across. So certainly significant amount of flooding. You can kind of hard to see in the distance. Obviously, this is the camera from our Weather Explorer right now, where we have been driving around checking conditions all morning. But in the distance there, you can see the park, and what is normally a parking lot and what is normally a huge field is completely covered in water. And so that is the situation that we're seeing. Alice, thank you for the update. She says it's raining a lot in Monrovia. Glad that they closed schools. Yes, and if you are just joining us and you haven't heard, Frederick County decided to close schools for today. Obviously, this is one of the reasons why, because there are several roads that are flood prone. There are several roads that are under water right now, dealing with high standing water, and that is not a safe situation for anyone, let alone a school bus and students, to try to make their way through. So again, Frederick County Schools did decide to close schools for the day today. And we have also seen a number of swiftwater rescues throughout the morning. And we have been on the road in our Weather Explorer since about 4 o'clock. And we've just really seen the rain coming down in sheets, really just droves of rain, where it gets to a point where it is so difficult to see sometimes that you can't even really make out the road in front of you. You can't make out the lanes. And that is where it gets dangerous. Not just on, some of these side roads like here in more of the rural parts, but when it starts to flood on the main roads, like when you see flooding on 270 and you see flooding on the Beltway, that is when you know it is a pretty serious situation as well. And so that is certainly, creates some delays. There was a crash on 270 southbound that caused some pretty significant delays. And I want to just check. And it looks like there are still some residual delays from that all the way back to Buckystown Pike from that earlier crash there. Just want to check in on some other rescues that we have seen. It looks like there was a water rescue in the area of Beach Drive and Connecticut Avenue, vehicle stranded there, so that is Montgomery County. And then, as I was telling you guys earlier, there was also a swiftwater rescue in Walkersville where we left, and the sheriff's deputy there told us that there was a truck that, couldn't see, drove down the road and drove right into some floodwater. So that driver had to be rescued there, and that is certainly the case that we're seeing across the area as well. Obviously worth mentioning, again, we say it all the time, you hear it all the time, that you should not drive through standing water, and that means even just the smallest amount, because it can be strong enough to wash away your car. So again, if you're just joining us, we're across from Woodsboro Regional Park along Woodsboro Road, and what you're looking at is this road here that is completely flooded. So if you're in the comments, let us know what you are seeing in your area, where you're at, if you're still seeing rain, any flooding, and let us know. Keep us updated.
go halfway down this road, you can see where the bridge, it's like maybe 10 feet of bridge. He said the creek is maybe 5 to 10 feet wide. That's it. All the rest of it, this is how far it's overrun. He said last time it was back up to where those 550 signs are. So yeah.
All right, so just looking in the comments here, looks like a lot of people are getting heavy rain. Alice, Robin says they're having a thunderstorm and pouring here in Anne Arundel County. Brad, I'm going to check on those closures. I'll get back to you in just a second. But if you're just joining us, just tuning in here, what you're looking at, this is in Frederick County, Woodsboro Regional Park in the area of here. The flooding is along Woodsboro Road. One of our colleagues that lives in this area, he said that the creek here that is flooded is Israel Creek, and says the creek is only about 5 to 10 feet wide. So that just gives you an indication of the amount of flooding that we're seeing here. If that creek is only a few feet wide and you've got a massive amount of flooding here, it really looks like you're almost looking at at a lake, but it is part of the parking lot of the park that is that is flooded. It is the fields of the park that are flooded here.